Well, come to my channel. The content presented in this video is for informational and
This is
entertainment
Zachary
purposes
Wester,
only.
the former Jackson
It is
County,
based on
Florida
our
Sheriff's
best
deputy.
research
Looking
and
at him, he
understanding of
appears as a
crimes and
dedicated
legal
law enforcement
proceedings.
officer.
However, we
Wester
are not
concealed
legal
a dark
professionals,
side beneath his
and the
uniform and
information
badge,
provided
driven by
should
a
not
thirst
be
for
considered
power
as
and
legal
harmful
advice
abuse of
or
authority.
factual evidence.
It did return presumptive positive for methamphetamine, okay? I'm just letting you know.
His shocking actions would rock not only his colleagues, but also the entire community. Wester's dark path began in 2016 when he became addicted to the authority his position gave him. He shamelessly exploited his power by targeting innocent motorists during routine traffic stops, planting narcotics on them. Watch carefully as Wester cunningly hides the drug in his left hand and stylishly plants it in this motorist's property. The truth emerged when a driver reported his misconduct, which prompted an investigation that uncovered a web of deceit. It was revealed that Wester had been planting drugs on unsuspecting individuals for years. This web of corruption led to his arrest in 2019 and subsequent conviction on multiple charges, including racketeering, official misconduct, perjury, fabricating evidence, and possession of controlled substances. His actions were deemed a blatant violation of trust, eroding the foundation of justice he was meant to uphold.
The defendant made choices to violate that trust and commit crimes against the very citizens that he had sworn to protect.
However shocking Wester's crimes were, wait till you see how he handled himself in court. Throughout his trial, he repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. He claimed he was being set up and maintained that he never planted illegal substances on anyone.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
Despite his vehement denials, the evidence against him was overwhelming, leading the jury to pronounce him guilty on 19 counts. During the proceeding, it was revealed that some of the body cam footage crucial to the case had been deleted. When pressed on this matter, this is what Wester had to say.
I wish I knew that answer.
Wester's demeanor in the courtroom raised eyebrows, described as arrogant and dismissive. He showed scant remorse for his actions.
Why were you turning your body camera off there?
It was customary and per policy to turn off any recording devices.
Rather than taking responsibility for his crimes, he seemed more focused on safeguarding his washed reputation. Victims of his duplicitous acts were also present. They told the court how his actions had affected them.
Being a mother and a grandmother for the last 3 years, I've probably missed 1.5 years of my grandbaby's life because of this.
In September 2021, Wester was sentenced to a 12-year prison term and slapped with over $100,000 in fines. However, this wasn't the only time a rogue police officer freaked out during their sentencing. Take, for example, the notorious case of Wayne Jenkins. Wayne Jenkins was the ringleader of the notorious gun trace task force, which was supposed to rid the city of criminals. This elite unit, tasked with maintaining law and order, strayed into organized crime.
Look at me. I'm Sergeant Wayne Jenkins of Gun Trace Task Force. I'm assigned to Baltimore City Police Department.
The Gun Trace Task Force evolved into a hub of robbery and drugs. Their crimes included planning armed robberies, planting evidence, and fabricating drug sales. As if that's not enough, Jenkins and his crew's reckless actions led to the death of Albert Davis. The criminal ring ultimately met its downfall when Antoine Washington, a heroin dealer with ties to Jenkins' network, was convicted. Wiretaps during this investigation inadvertently captured the voices of the 8 corrupt officers. Their evil activities made headlines and diminished the trust people, especially family members of Albert Davis, had in the police.
Do you trust the police department after what your family has been through?
No, sir. No, never.
Can anything change that?
I don't think so, not.
An investigation by the FBI revealed the depths of the task force's corruption.
Well, how about we just go on things and just act like, oh, is everything okay? You get what I'm saying?
Jenkins, the gang leader, had been protecting the drug trade, enabling a multi-million-dollar operation to thrive. After gathering all the evidence, Jenkins and his cohorts were finally apprehended. Despite the horrifying nature of Jenkins' offenses, his actions during sentencing managed to shock everyone present. During the trial, Jenkins took a plea deal and was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. However, what he said when given the opportunity to speak was even more shocking.
No, ma'am, I'm ashamed of myself.
The remorse he displayed during his sentencing contrasted starkly with the ruthless behavior he and his crew exhibited. However, while Jenkins's behavior raised eyebrows, it's nothing compared to the explosive actions of Charlie Reeder during his trial. Charlie Reeder was an ex-cop entrusted with upholding the law, but decided to do otherwise. The accusations began circulating in 2019 when suspicions arose that he had misappropriated funds from narcotics busts to fuel his gambling addiction, a sum totaling around $5,000. Despite initial reports of the incident, Reeder sought to deflect blame by claiming to have used the embezzled money for the betterment of the community.
I took money from that and I provided it to those people.
This feeble attempt to rationalize his actions raised doubts from the public, with one key question in everyone's mind. Why do the denominations of the funds he claimed to have used for community support not match those taken from the crime scene and related individuals?
And the denominations did not match what was taken at the crime scene or from those individuals. I guess, why did you take the money?
Reeder was subsequently arrested and charged to court. Just when you thought Reeder couldn't sink any lower, his behavior in the courtroom will leave you stunned. During his trial, Reeder delivered an emotional speech to avoid jail time.
As the sheriff of Ohio, I said, excuse me.
With tear-filled eyes, he begged the judge not to condemn him to prison, expressing remorse for his actions and acknowledging the stain he had brought on the sheriff's office.
Your Honor, please do not send me to prison. If I could go back and change it, I would 1,000,000 times. I shed bad light on the office of sheriff.
However, the judge remained unmoved by his emotional plea.
It cannot be underestimated the damage that you have caused to the citizens of Pike County. I think you made a mockery of it.
Reeder was eventually sentenced to 6.5 years in prison for his crimes, which included theft in office and tampering with evidence. However, his sentence would run concurrently, resulting in a 3-year prison term. As part of his plea agreement, the former sheriff was permanently banned from holding any public office in Ohio. However, while Reeder's behavior was shocking, it's nothing compared to the utter mayhem caused by Police Constable Wayne Couzens in court.
London police officer has been sentenced to life in prison for the kidnap, rape and murder of a young woman.
On the evening of March 3rd, 2021, Police Constable Wayne Couzens abducted Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old woman who unsuspectingly crossed paths with him. Using his position of authority, Couzens pretended to arrest her and then used police handcuffs to abduct her forcibly. What transpired over the next 96 hours was an appalling tale of cruelty, abuse of power, and horrifying violence. Couzens took Sarah to a remote rural area where he sexually assaulted and murdered her. After the murder, Couzens left her body in the woods and tried to conceal his tracks. He discarded her phone, burnt her body in a refrigerator, and disposed of her remains in a nearby pond. Several CCTV cameras captured him calmly carrying on with his life in Ashford days later, seemingly unaffected by the heinous act he had committed. As if this weren't disturbing enough, Couzens had more troubling details to reveal. He was recorded during a police interrogation where he made up a manipulative story about a local gang threatening his family unless he kidnapped a girl for them.
I've been lent on by the group, the gang, whatever. They told me, right, I need to go and pick up girls and give them to them. They're gonna harm my family, take them away.
These lies were later debunked. Couzens' actions had far-reaching repercussions. Sarah's body was discovered 50 miles away, concealed in a builder's bag in Kent. Analysis of Couzens' mobile phone data established his presence at the site where her body was found. At his sentencing, the judge aptly summarized the gravity of his crimes, acknowledging the irrevocable pain inflicted upon Sarah's family and the pervasive sense of insecurity his actions had instilled in the community, particularly women. The Metropolitan Police Force's reputation took a dent.
I recognize that for some people, a precious bond of trust has been damaged. I am so sorry.
The shockwaves from this case reverberated across the UK, sparking nationwide protests and vigils. In the end, Wayne Couzens was sentenced to life. However, just when you thought you'd seen it all, another convict surpasses Couzens' wild behavior. Enter David Oliver. Once the police chief of Brimfield Township, Oliver faced a series of legal troubles that tarnished his reputation. Known for his humorous and sharp-witted Facebook posts targeting criminals, he ironically found himself on the wrong side of the law, charged with multiple misdemeanors. The former police chief was charged with unlawful restraint, attempted theft, simple assault, and unauthorized use of property. These charges marked a stark contrast to his previous role in law enforcement. While the crimes committed by Oliver were reprehensible, their conduct in court will make your blood run cold. Oliver's legal ordeal stemmed from allegations made by Crystal Casterline, a female officer who had worked under him. Casterline accused him of harassment that escalated from unwarranted hugs to inappropriate groping and manipulation. She shared her experience with the court.
The hugs escalated to groping, humping me, trapping me places, and forcing me into positions where he would press his body into mine.
Oliver disputed some of the accusations, yet he pleaded guilty to all charges to move forward. During the court proceedings, Oliver's remorse was evident as he entered a no-contest plea for charges like attempted theft in office and assault involving Casterline. He received a 2-year probation sentence, restitution, and a lifetime ban from serving as a police officer again. Oliver, who had once garnered a small following on social media due to his comedic commentary on criminals, found himself facing criminal charges. However, Oliver wasn't alone in their courtroom actions. Let's not forget the infamous incident involving Braulio Gonzalez.
Other news, a Miami-Dade police officer is facing some serious charges today after his arrest.
Miami-Dade police lieutenant under arrest tonight. The allegations very disturbing.
In 2018, Gonzalez, a 47-year-old, was arrested on numerous charges of molesting an 8-year-old child. Gonzalez, a Miami-Dade police lieutenant and a veteran member of the SWAT team, was taken into custody for his heinous crimes. The incidents of abuse began in 2011 and persisted for 2 years until the victim, whom we will call Jane Doe to preserve her anonymity, turned 10. The young girl bravely revealed that the lieutenant had abused her for over 2 years, sometimes even with him holding a gun to her head. The details surrounding this case are truly disturbing. Jane Doe recounted that Gonzalez had exploited her vulnerability, touching her inappropriately and engaging in unspeakable acts throughout the period. However, she was scared for her life and well-being and had been silent, so she didn't disclose the abuse sooner. The revelation that ultimately led to Gonzalez's arrest came when Jane Doe confided in a psychiatrist on September 5th. She courageously shared her traumatic experiences, which triggered an investigation into the lieutenant's criminal activities. The authorities then moved to bring these hidden crimes to light. In May 2022, justice was served as Gonzalez was sentenced to life in prison for his crimes. The former Miami-Dade police officer was convicted of molesting several girls, including Jane Doe. The sentencing hearing saw the judge handing down a life sentence for count 1, with counts 2 through 9 carrying a 25-year minimum mandatory term.
So tonight, life in prison. That is the sentence handed down to a former Miami-Dade police officer convicted of molesting several girls.
So at this time, based on the jury's findings, every count I'm sentencing you to life in prison. Count 1 will be a 10-year minimum mandatory. Counts 2 through 9 will have a 25-year minimum mandatory. Everything will run concurrent.
All these sentences were to run concurrently, ensuring that Gonzalez would spend the rest of his life behind bars. If you thought these reactions were shocking, you'd be amazed at this video of the most disturbing courtroom moments of all time.